Okay. Air conditioning. So as you know here, we are ice cold air. So it's a very deceiving name. We do not only do air conditioning here. We are a full service repair facility. All of the ice cold airs are. It's just a good name in Florida. We do specialize in AC, but we also specialize in other areas. Air conditioning in Florida is a necessity. I am from Chicago. I did not care about air conditioning. I cared about heat. So when I moved to Florida, I learned a lot about air conditioning. You've got major components. You've got a compressor, a condenser, an evaporator, an accumulator, expansion devices, lines. You've got refrigerant, which is your Freon, blower motors, blower resistors, control heads. So it sounds like a lot. So basically how I explain to people how this works. You have a compressor. The compressor is like the heart. You have Freon, which is like the blood. You've got lines, which are like veins. So in order for a compressor to put out air conditioning, you have to have Freon in it to make it pump, just like a heart. You need blood. So you have Freon that pumps through these hoses to make the compressor come on to produce air. So the AC compressor is the heart of the AC system. It acts as a pump. The compressor circulates the refrigerant and pumps it through the condenser, which is the gas. The condenser looks like a radiator. It's in the front of your vehicle. I don't know why they put them there, because if you hit a rock, they get holes in them. It puts the gas in contact with fresh air, causing the gas to liquefy. The high pressure liquid flows through an evaporator where it turns into a vapor, and then the vehicle's fan blows the cool vapor through your vents, which gives you the cool air. Freon is a clear gas. You cannot see it. So when you go to a shop and you have a Freon leak, or if you're low on Freon, assume you have a leak because it is a sealed system. You cannot always find a leak right away because it is a clear gas. So generally a repair shop will evacuate what may be left of your Freon. We have a tank, we measure it, we put the right amount in, and then we go ahead and inject a fluorescent dye. The fluorescent dye will show if there's a leak. If there's a leak somewhere, it'll shoot out the system. Then we can tell you what part is leaking. Sometimes you can't find a leak right away because you may have a very small leak. So as I do in my shop, I let people know that two things are going to happen. One, I'm going to fill it up with Freon. I'm going to put a dye in there, and I'll be able to tell you what's wrong with your car today. If I can't tell you what's wrong with your car today, you're going to leave my shop with cold air, and you're going to bring it back. You're going to bring it back when it starts blowing warm again, whether it's the next day, 6 weeks from now, 6 months from now. Sometimes a leak can be so small you can't detect it. So then you would bring it back, we'd put our yellow glasses on, our fluorescent lights over it, and then you'll be able to detect what's leaking on it. In our shop, we generally don't charge twice for Freon because sometimes that's just part of the diagnostics. Compressors are a very, very common repair in Florida. They work very hard. It's very hot down here. People will come in and they will say, you know, my compressor, I have no AC, you guys just fixed it, and I still have no AC. But what happens is, when you have a leak with any system, it always goes to the weakest point. So when you fix the weakest point, because of the Freon being a clear gas, you can't always tell right away if there's another leak. So people get very frustrated. Oh, you just fixed it, and and unfortunately, you have to have a starting point on some vehicles. And it may be a compressor, it may be a line. Well, until this line is repaired, you can't tell if it's leaking anywhere else. So it's sometimes can be very frustrating. I don't know why they make it a clear gas, that's just what it is. So for the most part, the AC system, like I said, it's kind of like a heart, blood, veins. That's how I explain it to my customers to help them understand without getting all technical. Anybody have any questions on the AC system?
I'd like to say one thing, the compressor, sometimes even if you're not using the air, if it goes south, then you still have to replace it because in my car, it drives a belt.
Yes.
And if it isn't working, I don't drive the car.
Exactly. Sometimes you do have to replace the compressor for other reasons because it's belt driven, and yes, absolutely. All right, we're good. Anybody else have any questions on the AC?
What's it going to cost to get one in if you don't have one at all?
We have units that you can put in. They do get costly. You can spend anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 because now you have to, for a car that has no AC, you now have to add an you have every component I have listed here, your car would not have. So then yes, you would have to replace everything or add to it. So you've got mounting brackets and you've got, the evaporator. We do them all the time. We work on a lot of old vehicles here that are not equipped factory with AC. So I have a guy that I know that sells me units, and then once we get in there, we have to customize, to the vehicle. But yeah, there are a lot of cars that don't come with AC that want it, and then when they're in Florida, they gotta have it. Anybody else? All right.